Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of And Action Filmmaking Podcast. I'm Tommy DeNucci. I'm here as always with Mike Messier. And today, Mike, we're going to get a little MTV all up in here, and we're going to talk about the magic of music videos.
Yeah, it's a great art form. It's something that started in full swing, I'd say, in the early 80s, but even going back to the 60s with bands like the Beatles, there's been variations of music videos. But looking forward to today's topic. It's a fun one.
But before we get into that, how you doing, Mike? How was your week? I got some great feedback on last week's episode 18. We were talking about the opposite sex. Great movie, great chance for a lot of people that I know that even worked on the movie. They checked out the podcast. They were reminiscing on some opposite sex movie making moments. So it was great to kind of think back on that movie. What was your feedback like on the show last week?
Very positive as always. And, once again, thanks to everyone that's been checking us out and people like Stephen E., Kim Kaling, and many others who, if you can share the link, my buddy Laza Johnson, an actor from Australia, actually does do that. He shares our links on his page, so I appreciate that. And as far as me, I had a good week. I've been here in Vero Beach, Florida. My friend Tim Labonte has been helping me to edit some archival Mike Messier footage. And so people might be surprised that some things they thought were dead or will soon be resurrected, which is fun. And then we shot something new here as well. So it's been an interesting week and a busy week. So glad to be here again.
Very cool, very cool. It's been a busy week over here as well. We actually just dropped the official Johnny and Clyde artwork today, which
I
was kind
saw
of
it.
fun. Thank you, thank you. So we had a
Nice.
nice poster featuring Megan Fox, featuring Abin Jogia, featuring of course Tyson Ritter,
Yeah.
featuring Johnny Russell. We get the whole cast up there, so we're excited to get a little artwork out there and hopefully get a trailer soon.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Tommy, is Tyson Ritter related to the late great John Ritter, or is that just the same last name?
Just a coincidence on that one.
Okay.
No Three's Company connection there. But as far as last week goes, it's kind of funny that we're doing this music video episode. Really on the hinges of me shooting my first music video in a long time.
Right.
As Andres Sanchez checks in. Oh, thank you, brother. Love the new poster. Looks absolutely amazing. I'm really happy. It's real quick sidebar on the poster. Every movie that you put out is different as far as promotions and artwork. As a director, some movies I've had a little more I've been able to weigh in more on the artwork than others. This one I didn't really have much say in, to be honest with you. It's kind of one of those things where, once I directed the film, it was in the hands of the distributor and that was that. So you're always kind of like waiting to see what that artwork is going to be like, almost like seeing your newborn baby for the first time. And I'm happy to say that I'm very pleased with it. I love the color scheme. I love the fact that they stayed true to, when you watch the film, not to give anything away, but there's definitely a very consistent color palette in the movie, and the poster kind of stays true to that. So we love that they did that, and we're excited to see a trailer soon. So thank you for the kind words, my friend.
Well,
Um,
anytime you can put Megan Fox on a cover of a poster and she looks tremendous as always, that's always helpful for the marketing, I would assume.
sure, we're so happy to have Megan behind this movie, and it's great to see her right there in the middle of our poster. Um,
Yes.
But as far as this music video game goes, this week was an interesting week for me because uh, I haven't done a full blown honking, full crew, full cast music video in a long time. It had been probably years. So this week, back on, just a few days ago, I had pretty much what I would call a full skeleton crew. Not a full crew, but definitely like a proper skeleton crew. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I had a really great crew together. Really talented people came together, and we made this music video called "Let Love Go." That's the name of the song, written by Johnny Barnes, who is a Massachusetts guy. Our neighbors here in Rhode Island, just our neighbors to the north. Um, and we had a great time. It's fun to make music videos. It kind of like opened my eyes to, kind of some of the things that I remember, what I loved about making music videos from Jump Street. Because guess what, Mike? A
Well,
lot of people don't know this, but my very first attempt at any kind of filmmaking venture of any kind or any project whatsoever was a music video. It was a teacher by the name of Coach Jay Jones over at Cranston High School West, who was also one of my football coaches. I think we've talked about the story before, but this was like kind of my first introduction to filmmaking of any kind in high school. And our first project, like once we learned how to like turn the camera on, was go out and make a music video. And I'll never forget, I did a band called Ben Folds 5. There's a
I remember them very well. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Folds 5, really, really great kind of jazz rock trio from the late 90s, early 2000s who had a lot of great hits. Ben Folds is an incredibly talented singer, songwriter, piano player. But yeah, we did a song called Rockin' the Suburbs. And I really went for it and made this music video that, it's funny at the time I didn't realize anything that I was doing, but I was really kind of like making sure that the video had a lot of visuals and there were a lot of locations. And I remember being excited that like, oh wow, like each scene there's like something different happening. I remember that being cool. And like again, like I had no idea that what I was doing was keeping a variety of shots, keeping your viewer engaged, not making it stale. I didn't really know anything about that. I just remember thinking like, wow, this is cool. We never see the same thing twice, kind of in the video. Like it was a lot of different visuals, different locations. So I remember making that video and kind of really kind of falling in love with making films on that one little project. So music videos are kind of fun in that sense because you have a lot of flexibility because you're making basically, let's face it, for the most part, a mini movie in 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Right. Yeah, your story reminds me of my high school days, Tommy. I had a couple of assignments for high school, and I figured out that if I took two VCRs and a boombox, I could manipulate an editing system with that. And I made a music video with the Elton John song "Rocket Man," which people can see on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel from the archives way back when. And I made one you would have liked, but I can't find it. I used the Black Sabbath song Iron Man and did a video for the Road Warriors using all their wrestling footage.
Wow. That's
That's like
going
lost media for me. I wish I could find that for you.
I bet you wish you could dig that one up.
Yeah,
Well, Mike, it's kind of fun because there are so many different types of music videos. I remember that's what I kind of fell in love with, like right off the bat, back in whatever the hell it was. I think it was probably like the fall of 2001 when I'm making this music video, 21 years ago, whatever, almost now. And I just love the fact that there was so much creative freedom. Like uh, music videos, unlike a traditional feature length film, don't necessarily need to follow a super consistent narrative. You can kind of paint an abstract picture with a music video. And I like that, and I like that at the time. I like the fact that, wow, I can kind of like, buck some of the traditional trends and try out a bunch of fun shit that I've never really worked with before
right.
in a music video. And you get away with that in a music video, and you might not get away with that in a feature film or in a short film.
Yeah, and the beginning, middle, end, that's so important for most movies, even if it's a nonlinear story structure. You can toy with that. You can have a couple of storylines going. People have done concert videos, and then there's still some type of story. But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, Tommy, I liked ZZ Top videos a lot because they were always kind of sponsoring this lifestyle of these three crazy musicians from Texas and their glamorous girlfriends. And just a lot of music videos are very powerful. Even today, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, they still make very powerful music videos.
Yeah, let's start off by chatting about, you kind of touched upon it a little bit, but for people watching this podcast that might be interested in making a music video, that's often an assignment, whether you're in film school, which I know that that's probably most film school curriculums have that as part of, at some point, you're going to have to make a music video, most likely. And even if you're just, somebody who, hey, you just got yourself a camera, You just bought yourself some gear and some editing equipment, and you're trying to start off as a freelancer, making a couple bucks and making a living, making, various video projects and things like that. Making a music video is certainly having the ability and the skill set to make a music video is definitely a great kind of weapon in the arsenal to have to go out and make yourself universal, diverse, make money. Um, so I highly recommend, freelancers out there that are just getting going, do some homework and, hit the pavement a little bit and look out for musicians in your area. And you'd be surprised what you can do with not a ton of money, to make a music video really cool. There's a bunch of different types of music videos. Let's talk about that. Mike, you mentioned the '60s and the '70s, and hell, I mean, I bet you by definition, I bet you even Elvis in the '50s had technically like music videos, but those were more performance-based videos. Those were more, just a video of the performer singing a song on stage, or maybe even singing a song on a set or something like that.
Jailhouse Rock comes to mind with Elvis. He's got the guys dancing and stuff, but yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Jailhouse Rock, who knows? I mean, like, we could do a little Wikipedia search here, but, like, that might be considered one of the first, like, true traditional music videos.
right.
Um, but it's kinda funny, I mean, to talk about Elvis, Elvis is kind of all over the headlines now, this new Elvis movie, which is doing really terrific. Mike, you know this, maybe some of our viewers know this, but I'm a big Elvis super fan from way back. If I
Yep.
were to turn my camera right now, you'd see an Elvis statue, a life-size Elvis statue right in
Yeah.
the corner. I've always been a huge fan. Um, so to me, it's kind of funny, a lot of people like to dunk on Elvis's movies and talk shit about the Elvis movies, and they were kind of, if you watch them by today's standards, yeah, they're a little vanilla, they're a little maybe corny, you could say cheesy, whatever.
Campy.
But really, those music videos, I mean, those movies were really an hour and 40-minute long music videos.
Right.
They were really kinda like one of the first, real big high production music videos where you had a character telling a story, but also performing as the character goes. So some innovative shit happened in those Elvis movies if you go back and take a look. And here's a fun Elvis fact. Did you know, Mike, that financially, every single Elvis movie, I believe he was in 30 in total, 29, something like that. Every single Elvis movie was financially successful.
It's pretty impressive.
Not one Elvis movie ever lost a goddamn dime.
I don't know if any other actor of note could say that. Any other I mean, I'm trying to think even like the heavy hitters like Shia LaBeouf or Tim Robbins or whoever have fails. Jim Carrey, even at his peak, every once in a while he'd have a bad movie, or Nicole Kidman, a movie that didn't do well. So that's pretty impressive for the king to do that well with 30 films.
Yeah, like you said, they don't call him the king for nothing. And when Elvis made a movie, whether he laid a giant egg or not, motherfuckers were going out to the theaters in droves to see it happen.
Yep.
And that was all before social media. Who knows how many Instagram followers, how many TikTok followers think Elvis would have today? Um, so basically, we talked about the performance-based video. Um, Woodstock. You could even say like there's a lot of Woodstock performances that are kind of music videos. But then, of course, we get into the late '70s and really what I call kind of like the boom era, which is the 1980s. And as we give this brief history of uh, of music videos, MTV plays a big part in that. And Mike, I think you could probably tell us a little bit about how important MTV was to the birth of the music video across the nation.
I believe the very first video, I'm just going by memory, Tommy, was Video Killed the Radio Star, which is a great song. I'm trying to remember the name of the artist,
The
and I'm sure
Buggles,
the Bungle. Okay, cool. The Bungles.
Buggles or Boogle, something like that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember if MTV launched on January 1st, 1981, or maybe January 1st of '82. But I mean, people like Deborah Harry with her band Blondie, they had some songs that were immediate hits. Duran Duran, Girls on Film. They had some videos that were so risque with the sexuality that they got banned from MTV. As we dug deeper into the '80s, They did offshoot shows like Headbangers Ball and Yo MTV Raps. And so a lot of pop culture of kids of the 80s and 90s, a lot of the pop culture and a lot of the things going on with the youth, the teenagers, were coming directly from MTV. What was that? TRL Live was a big show for 10 years or so in the 90s and 2000s. And a lot of people like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, they were always on that show. I think Carson Daly was the host, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, there's just a lot of history with MTV going back to the 80s through the last several decades.
Yeah, you could almost say that it was formulaic, and we have an official date here, 1982. Thank you,
Yes.
Andres. And basically, it was almost like a formula. You'd have a band put out a music or an artist put out a particular song, and then the artist would have a music video that would kind of come out right at the same time. Kids would watch that video, and if it was popular, they would just go nuts for it. And I would imagine, again, I'm not a record executive, but I would imagine that having a hit video probably did some crazy things to, crazy number. You probably did crazy numbers if you had a great music video to go along with whatever song that you're putting out there. So I bet you the music industry quickly caught on that there was a direct correlation to bands that have hit music videos sell more records, flat out.
Yeah, and you can't underestimate solo artists like Madonna. She was a huge pioneer. Cyndi Lauper, time after time. Madonna, like a virgin, borderline, expressed yourself, like a prayer. I mean, whenever I had a friend a few years ago, Tommy, who was a big Lady Gaga fan, and I said, Have you ever watched "Express Yourself" by Madonna? Like, have you ever compared Madonna stuff from the 1980s to anybody who's doing stuff now? So I mean, there's some real legacy there, and these were very powerful mini movies. I mean, I remember a few times, Tommy, like when the "Like a Prayer" video by Madonna debuted, it was like a primetime special. When Michael Jackson debuted "Black or White," it was a primetime special for a music video.
Yeah,
So that's
let's we're definitely gonna dive into our favorite music videos and all the big stuff later as we go, but let's just talk a little bit about, you mentioned mini movie. That was kind of what made the music videos of the 80s, which kind of turned into the 90s, and of course the music videos of today, which things have changed a little bit, but they're kind of going back to where we started. But for the most part, like all those iconic videos that you just mentioned, they're mini movies. They're very much shot like a cinematic film that you'd go out and buy a ticket for in terms of the production value, in terms of even sometimes massive stars being in these music videos. Um, and I think what it also did was, unlike the generations before, it gave a chance for the artist to basically become a movie star for a minute. They get to star in their own movie for the most part. And it ended up introducing kids at home to an entire new level of personality that star has. You basically got a whole new look. You get to see what they're like. And before that, maybe you get to see them in an interview. Maybe you get to see them say a couple words during a concert. But you didn't really get that kind of an in-depth look into the character's personality, the star's personality, like you would in a music video when they get to actually play that character and you get to see them maybe act a little bit. And again, they can be portrayed as these very lovable characters, which I can imagine just leads to incredible spikes in record sales. We have an official update on that MTV date. It looks like
August 1st, 1981.
that's when it all went down. August 1st, 1981, when MTV hit the scene and the music industry was never the same. So basically, these are the mini movies. These are the kind of videos that I think people are kind of excited about, interested in. Um, let's talk about, I think we're gonna kind of finish the show off on some of our favorite videos and things like that. But Mike, tell us a little bit about, I know that you have a little bit of music video experience. Weren't you an AD on a music video that maybe didn't go so great? And what can we learn from that experience? I think we're going to spend the next 10, 15 minutes each sharing some experiences on music videos, and maybe our viewers, if they're about to go make a music video, they can learn from some of the disasters or successes that we've encountered. So, Mike, you're going to tell us a disaster scenario, and I'm going to talk on a successful scenario, and we'll go from there.
Well, I can say that this was a bad situation. Was referenced in our worst days on set episode, I believe. But basically, I was brought on to be a first AD for a music video, and unfortunately, I was kind of paired together with a guy who he and I had never had the opportunity to meet before the day of the shoot. And my feeling, having never been a first AD before, was that safety was the number one consideration. And I expressed my concerns about one of the shooting locations, basically being near some puddles, like puddles of water. And I didn't want the electrical equipment that we had to be anywhere near those puddles. And the director was so caught up on catching those images on video that he kind of ignored what I was suggesting. So we just didn't hit it off. I
So
could
safety, I think
safety.
so you can kinda sum it up with safety is an issue. Just because you're making a music video and you think it might be a smaller production, doesn't mean that you have to throw caution in the wind and be foolish about potentially electrocuting your crew.
Yeah, and exactly. And I felt like that concern that I was expressing wasn't being listened to. And there's another quick story I'll give you. I was actually a musician friend of mine. I used to have a lot of musician friends in Providence. Asked me to direct a music video, and he assigned me to basically a cinematographer, which is in a friend that he knew with a camera. And so I had this idea for kind of a throwback, late '90s type of music video, just a guy and a girl walking around, very, very simple stuff. And after we filmed it, I guess the cinematographer, who was a little bit younger than me, didn't quite get what I was trying to do. And he wanted to basically do a different storyline than what we all agreed on. And he kind of wrote me and my friend this email explaining his vision, for this thing. And I was the one that got the actress involved. Really nice lady, came down from New
Hmm.
Hampshire actually to be in this thing, and it was just very frustrating. And maybe one of those lessons I learned the hard way, Tommy, where even if you have the best of intentions, you're trying to help a friend. If you don't have things really locked down with paperwork, or at least working with the people you trust, it's so easy to get screwed creatively. In
Well,
this
I think we can sum that up to, again, almost like the safety. It's like, I feel like often people go to make a music video and they right off the bat, they're treating it like it's a lesser than style project. Like, "Oh, it's
right,
just a music video." I've actually heard people say that. "It's
yeah,
just a music video. We're just gonna shoot it, tomorrow afternoon. It's not a big deal." No, it is a big deal. Nothing you shoot should ever be just an anything. That's
right,
the kinda attitude that leads to mediocre bullshit that nobody really cares about and nobody's gonna watch other than you, maybe your mom and dad, maybe your girlfriend, maybe your boyfriend, one of your cousins. But nobody that is a stranger is gonna wanna watch your film, your short, your feature, your music video if it's just a fill in the
right.
blank. So from now on, when you go out to do things, don't have a just a attitude.
Right. And the flippancy is the word that I was thinking of when you were saying that just now, because it seemed like a flippant thing of, let's just change the story that we all just filmed together, or let's just film near puddles when there's electrical equipment. So I guess I don't like the word or the attitude of flippancy today.
Yeah, and I think that what that comes down to, again, music videos are great, but a lot of music video sets are filled with inexperienced people, and that's just the nature of the beast because, again, like I said, most film school curriculums have make a music video. It's one of the more basic missions that you can set out to accomplish
Right.
as a director, as a writer, as an actor, even. I acted coming up as an actor. I remember a couple of my first gigs were just acting in random non-union music videos. But there were opportunities to get in front of the camera. Out of all the, I probably did 4 or 5 of them. I think only one of them I'd be maybe remotely proud to show someone. But they're all learning experiences along the road to becoming a better filmmaker, becoming a better actor. Um, why don't we talk a little bit about some positive music video tips? You know, if you're going out there right now, let's say you get hired tomorrow to do a video, what are some things that you can be thinking about right off the bat that could kind of make your video stronger? And keep in mind, you know, one of the great things about a music video is from a filmmaker standpoint or an actor standpoint, if you happen to star in it, or a writer, if you happen to write it, it's easy to show a great number of people your music video. You know, I mean, listen, I've been making movies pretty much my entire adult life. And as great of an accomplishment as you may think it is that you made a feature film, 7 out of 10 people could give a fuck, to be honest with you.
Sure.
And if you try to show them your movie, even if your shit's on Netflix, these people aren't going to take the fucking 2 hours to watch it most of the time.
Right.
Because it's a commitment. I get it. Look, life's short. Everybody's got a limited amount of time. It's hard to convince someone, hey, watch my 95-minute movie. But you can almost always convince someone to watch your 3-minute music video. You can almost get anybody to give you 2 fucking minutes of their life to see something that you did. So I think right off the bat, it's a great calling card to have if you're a young filmmaker, young actor, because you know for a fact that you can show some of that shit. Hell, you can break your fucking phone out and be like, "Hey, watch this right now. Watch it." And you almost can catch someone to they're forced to watch it. So that's kind of a nice thing right off the bat. Music videos are great because they're short, little blasts of content, and I feel like there was a moment where music videos had dipped in popularity. You
Right.
know, I feel like, and you know, we had talked about this a little bit, Mike, off air. You know, and obviously the '80s and '90s music videos were everything. And then there was almost like this dead era from like 2000, 2005 to like maybe just recently, maybe just the last few years. And I think what that was social media had taken over and people hadn't really social media wasn't to the point where you could easily upload like full length videos.
Right.
It was still kind of like you had to post a link and then the person would have to go to the link to watch the thing. Now you can easily just post your 3-minute music video directly into whatever social media platform you use
Right.
and get it out there. So social media recently has kind of like enhanced people's ability to watch these videos because again, nobody minds watching a couple minutes worth of something. It's when you got to watch really anything over 2-3 minutes, you start to lose people. So videos are great for that. Remember, a music video is an abstract form of art. Don't be afraid to bend the rules. Do things in a music video that you would normally never have the ability or flexibility, I should say, to do in a feature length film. And you might be saying, well, what do you mean? What I mean by that is, well, maybe you couldn't afford to do a period piece for an entire feature or an entire short film, but maybe you could do like a Wild West 1890s music video where like you only have one or two characters in that 1890s cowboy garb and you're just showing it for 2.5 minutes. Maybe you can do some kind of cool science fiction uh, themed music video where you have aliens
Right.
and you can, have all these kind of special effects that you might normally not be able to afford. That's another thing, here's your chance to experiment. You know what I mean? Like, make it a music video. Experiment with that new shot that you wanted to try. Try moving the camera in a way that you wouldn't normally try moving it in a feature, or experiment with a style that you wouldn't normally try because you can. Same thing with visual effects. Whether we're talking a special effect, like a practical effect, that again, maybe you might not be able to afford long term. Maybe you can have that one gnarly practical effect if you're doing it like a horror movie style music video, or maybe you can have that one really cool CGI effect where like the alien spaceship finally lands at the end of the video and it's
Right.
really cool, but we just see it for a second. So try things that you normally wouldn't try in your regular run of the mill video project. We've got Figueroa Films chiming in, our good friend Anthony. When is the video dropping? Well, Ant, we are very excited to get in the editing room Thursday. Our buddy Mike Braga, shout out to Mike Braga, is going to be cutting this one up. And I'm excited, man. The good thing about cutting this one up, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Johnny Barnes music video, "Let Love Go." But the cool thing about this one was we shot this whole video. The script was probably like 5.5 pages. Shot it all in one day.
Right.
And I didn't really have the like ability to shoot more than one or two takes of anything. Probably the most, I think there was one very specific focus mark that we had to hit that we probably got like 4 or 5 times. But other than that, like most shots we kind of got twice and all right, moving on. So I think the edit process is going to move pretty quickly because there's just not a lot of footage to go through. Which, sometimes, yeah, you wish you had more footage, but sometimes it's nice when it's like, all right, it's either that shot or
Right.
this one because there's
Right.
two takes. So it definitely makes your decisions easier. So we hope to get this one. I'm gonna guess this is an estimation, but I hope that we can have that cut pretty much. What is it? We're coming into September already.
Yeah, today's August 30th, I believe.
Crazy how fast this summer blew by. But yeah, we're gonna probably cut that for the month of September and maybe have it ready to go for October 1st. Let's say
Nice.
that. Today's the soft date, October 1st, because it does have a little bit of like a spooky horror theme to it. So it'd be kind of fun to have that come out in October. Shocktober. Does anyone remember Shocktober?
I remember
Shocktober.
that term. Yeah.
Shocktober was, I think it was on TBS or TNT. And during the month of October, they would run just like every old school horror movie from the Leprechaun to all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. And if you remember Shocktober, drop a comment down. But yeah, so those are some tips right there. Be creative. Obviously, make it unique. You know, I think that having playback. This may seem like an obvious one, but I ran into this one just Friday when we were making the last video. Have your playback ready to go, and what I mean by that is the actual song that you're going to use. If there is any kind of, we didn't have a lot of this in the video, but we did have some performance beats mixed into the cut, where you see our artist actually playing, but it's kind of unique because the artist is playing at a party while in character he's like undercover as like a detective. So having playback was big because you don't want the timing of your artist to be off from the timing of the song that you go to use. I don't care how good you think the artist is or how well the artist claims to have the song memorized. Have playback going because if he or she is moving in a certain direction that doesn't match up with the song, your shit's already going to be fucked up right off the bat. So get your playback going. That'll also help just get everyone in the vibe overall with, what kind of music you're listening to kind of matches what kind of video you're going to make sometimes. Here's a big one. Find yourself a great location
Right.
that you can bust up into multiple locations. Like for example, I shot this one video a long time ago, one of the first projects I did after film school, and we shot a music video in an old warehouse. And what was great about the old warehouse was I was able to use like four different locations within the one location, and I'm talking literally like move the camera and okay, set them up over here, move the camera, set them up over there. And what you do is, if there's anyone who like this is your first time making a video, and again, I apologize if this sounds simple and if you've got a lot of experience, forgive me. But really, the best way to do it, if you're doing a very low budget, very simple music video, and you have an artist who's going to be, say, singing and playing a guitar, get that artist in a really cool space, like this cool warehouse or maybe a cool park if you want to do something outdoors, and have them just run through the whole song like 4 times in 4 different locations and be getting a variety of shots, close-ups. If the artist plays an instrument, close up on the instrument, maybe wide shot, some kind of a moving shot, a push in, a pull out. Just be getting a variety of shots at each location. And really it's pretty simple. It's like you have that artist go through their song, which they should know, 4 or 5 times. Maybe you do it a couple of times in each little mini location so that you
Right.
can get like, let's say you only have one camera, then you can do a close up on the artist, then you can do a wide shot on the artist, or maybe a medium and a close up on the artist playing. So you break that up into 4 or 5 different locations, and then you get in the editing room and you can do like a multi-layered edit where you can kind of take those 4 tracks in your editing machine, and if you do it right and you do it with playback like I recommended, it should match up and line up so that you can really then just cut it like a multi-camera shoot. And you can be almost just like switching like a technical director from camera 1 to camera 2 to camera 3 to camera 4, and it really cuts down the editing process when you do it that way. And then there's your simple music video. Again, like won't have a lot of narrative, but it's a simple way to show a performer performing in a nice location. If it's well lit, if it looks nice, people will like it and they're going to want to watch it. Guys, Stephen E just checked in. What's up, Stephen? We're talking music videos here on a Tuesday evening edition of And Action. It's great to have you with us here.
I was going to say, Tommy, a two-word phrase comes to my mind when I think of music videos, especially narrative music videos. If people are out there about to shoot one, and the two-word advice would be simple story. Just a story, have a story, but keep it simple. If your video is somewhere between 3 minutes and probably at the very longest 7 minutes, probably 3 to 5 most of the time, a simple story will take you very far.
No question, Mike. It's hard enough to get people to understand a complex story when you have 90 minutes to tell it in.
Right.
You ain't going to tell them a complex story in 3 minutes. It's just not going to happen. People might look away for a second and miss a key moment. So I second that emotion. Keep your stories simple in a music video. There's no reason to baffle anybody. That doesn't mean that you can't have a cool rug pull or a cool flip or a cool surprise at the end. But don't be trying to introduce too many characters. Don't be trying to introduce too many elements and layers. You got 3 minutes to tell the story for the most part.
Right.
Here's another simple one. And guys, this goes for any time you film anything. Take advantage of magic hour if you can. Obviously if the story calls for it. If the shot's scheduled to be at night, don't shoot it at magic hour. That wouldn't make any sense. But if you have any kind of daytime shots in your music video, find that magic hour light. It is a gift given to us every single day for the most part, unless it's cloudy. And just everything looks better at magic hour. So why the fuck wouldn't you be shooting your beautiful, pretty pictures at magic hour? I can't stress that enough. Magic hour is fun too, because it's the gift that comes and says hello not once, but twice a day. You get a pretty magic hour in the morning light. You get a pretty magic hour in the sunset light. Find that shit. Take advantage of it. Have that magic hour wrap around your subject matters and paint a much prettier picture. That's
Yeah.
a free one.
For those that don't know, magic hour is the hour of sunrise in the morning and sunset at night. As the sun is coming up for the day and as it's going down, not after it's gone down, but as it's going down. And you're right, that is always an awesome time to shoot.
It's free, baby. Why not use it? Here's another one too. This could add some production value if you don't have, say, you can't afford the kind of a budget to have multiple days of filming on your music video. Ask the artist if they have any pre-existing stock footage of the band themselves playing at concerts, or any cool stock footage of the band. Who knows? It could be fucking home movies. It could be a home movie of the artist as a little kid. It could be a home movie of the artist and their friends in high school jamming out. Um, find footage that already exists and use it as a nice little sprinkle of some spice into your music video. Or if it's not, maybe it doesn't make sense with the narrative to find actual pre-existing footage of the artist as a younger person. Maybe you can look up some stock footage that is free. I mean, if you go online, there's a lot of stock footage libraries. You can punch in your Google machine stock footage, and a bunch of different sites will come up. Some of it's free, some of it costs a little bit of money. But the bottom line is that one fucking awesome shot that you might need to really put your video over the top, you might be able to get it for like $30 on a stock footage site. So why not investigate? I think stock footage is an area that, again, beyond music videos, just across the board.
Right.
I don't think there's been a movie that I've ever made, a feature movie that I've ever made, where I didn't use some form of stock footage. It's kind of something that we all do as filmmakers. To when we're done filming, we're like, fuck, I wish I had a shot of an owl right here. Where can I get that? And then if if it works out well, people will be like, that was a great shot of an owl Tommy got. It's a lie. It's stock footage, but they don't know that. They don't need to know. Don't
That
tell.
arrow looks familiar. Did I see him in another
Listen,
film?
this goes for filmmaking too, because it's movie magic, and a magician never reveals their secrets. So if it's stock footage, they don't need to fucking know about it. That could be
True.
our little secret, and you can take that shit to the grave. Here's another little tip: interview the artist. You know, if let's say you get hired to do a music video, take the artist out for coffee, sit down with them, find out what makes them tick. You know, I'm talking if you don't have a concept already given to you, if the artist hasn't said, I want to make a video about space invaders and I'm going to play the main alien. Well, if they don't have a concept and you're not quite sure, sit down with them, get to know them, find out what they're into, find out what their likes and dislikes are. Maybe they have a hobby, maybe they ride motorcycles, maybe they're a goddamn Civil War reenactor. I don't fucking know, but find out by interviewing them. And maybe there's something that you'll find out that kind of sparks something, and you're like, "Ooh, that's kind of unique." Or maybe they'll have access to something really cool that you can use in the video.
Right.
So don't be afraid to get to know the artist. I think that's important.
Yeah,
Um,
I think for me, Tommy, you know, the most some of the most successful music videos are either in one of the following two ways: either the video matches the personality of the artist, or it's a contrast to the personality of the artist. And I'm thinking of Sting and the Police with their "Every Breath You Take," which was like very silhouette and really a stock, very interesting video that kind of gave the intellectual and the moodiness of the Police, but then later for Sting's solo career. I'm trying to think of a video of the other direction where an artist does something totally different than their personality. Maybe something like Eminem or something like that.
I was just thinking Eminem.
Yeah. He did have he had a lot of fun. I mean the one where
Like,
he's
even
dressed
the
up as
Slim my name
Robin.
well,
Yeah,
even, like, My Name Is, like, the Slim
yeah,
Shady video, like, how iconic was that when you have, like, the, you know, dozens of different Slim Shadys out there. Here's a couple of other little tips, before we move on to our favorite and iconic music videos as we progress down this program here. Um, Music videos are a great chance for tryouts. You know, I just shot a video last week. Um, Again, you know, I worked with a lot of crew people that I work with on a regular basis, but for the most part, um, there were a couple people that were kind of new additions and people that I have worked with before as an actor, but never with as a director. I had a really cool production designer on there that I had never worked with before. Um, Great chance to kind of say, all right, maybe this is a person that I could work with on a feature film. Let's have a little tryout. You know, let's have a little preseason game. Here we are in the NFL season for the football fans out there. We're among the preseason weeks where teams are kind of trying out different rosters, trying out different plays in their playbook. Hey,
Right.
let's you know what? We're pretty sure this play is going to get stuffed, but we want to get it on tape. It's very important that we see what it looks like up against the live defense. So let's run it. Same thing on making a music video. You know, let me hire a couple people that, hey, I've never worked with this person before. I don't know if I want to invest in working with them for say 3 or 4 weeks on a feature yet, but it would be nice if I could just see what it's like at a trial basis if we work together for one day. So I worked with a new production designer. Shout out to Mike Bowen, and it worked out really well. And I think I could see myself working with him something long term, you know, on a feature film. Um, and same thing with you know, I even had an actor. Shout out to Audrey, who was basically playing the lead in this video, and she did an amazing job. And that's someone that I would definitely cast again. And you don't know until you try, and it's a great opportunity to try out
she
on a
normally
video
works
like
behind the
this.
scenes. Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. She Audrey normally works behind the scenes in your films, right? So this was a new experience for her acting.
Yes, Audrey has worked costumes for us for a little bit now, and that's Audrey Fratelli. Um, Shout out to Audrey. And you know, she's always told me she has an interest in acting, and she's gotten a chance to, you know, do some background work and things like that. But this was like a really cool feature about this kind of homicidal, crazy scorned lover who kills all of her boyfriends. That's what the video Johnny Barnes Let Love Go is about. It's kind of fun. Johnny Barnes, remember we said you should get to know your artist, right?
Right.
Well, the video I just did, Johnny Barnes, he is a former detective, former police officer, had a whole career in law enforcement, and would moonlight as a rock and roll dude. Would be playing all the top clubs in Boston and New England, really, his whole adult life. So he's a rockin' detective. So we basically made this storyline about this kind of scorned, almost like, do you remember that movie, great Michael Myers movie from the early 90s?
So I married an axe murderer.
So I married an axe murderer. Bet you didn't think we'd be dusting that one off when you woke up this morning.
Did not think so. That's
Hey,
a good one.
if you're watching this and you haven't seen So I Married an Axe Murderer, dust that shit off. It is some vintage Mike Myers, like you've never seen him before. And if you watch that, we're talking before Austin Powers. We're talking like really like his probably this might be his first feature right out of the SNL days.
It was his first feature coming out of the SNL days. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just really it's dark and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
You should check it out. So this kind of had like a So I Married an Axe Murderer vibe where you have this kind of like seemingly adorable, lovable woman who may or may not kill her ex-boyfriends for reasons which range from deserving reasons like being cheated on. Nobody likes that. I'm not saying you deserve to get killed over that, but it's not a nice thing to do.
Sure.
To seemingly maybe not so reasonable things to get killed for. Like one of her boyfriends is just a little sloppy drunk at a party, and that's not enough. That's not how she sees things going. So basically, I don't want to give away too much more, but Let Love Go by Johnny Barnes will be coming out October 1st is the date that I gave myself. Don't hold me to that. It might be the second week in October, but I will say this, and I'm pretty firm on this because you never know what you're going to encounter in the editing room, right?
Sure.
Before Halloween, that video will drop. See how, Mike, you like how I just bought myself another 30 days, basically, by saying before Halloween.
If you don't give yourself a break, Tommy, who will?
Exactly. Stephen E. chimes in some great tips here. Yeah, we really hope that we can help anybody out. And remember, if you have any questions about music videos and we haven't touched upon them or addressed them, and you watch this after the fact when we're no longer live, feel free to just drop a comment down anywhere here, and we'll see it. And we'll answer it on the next show for you. But yeah, awesome, Audrey. She did an amazing job. Shout out to a few other actors. Forrest Quiglia did an amazing job in this video. He's a very kind of just a fun actor to work with, really willing to try different things and really go for it. David Gear makes a little cameo in this one, and he actually does a little bit of a face bump. He takes a face bump, Mike. He does a little bit of a stunt where he frankly dives in a plate of macaroni face first, and he has to kind of like there's this scene where he has to like do a full-on face flop into a plate of macaroni, and there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot. There really is. You probably say, well, what do you mean? Number one, the actor has to commit, and you have to be willing to really throw your fucking face down onto that plate. But here are a couple things that we had to consider. A, you want a nice, big, thick rigatoni, something that's got a little bit of softness and cushion when the actor's face hits the pasta.
Right.
Two, you wouldn't want a ribeye. You wouldn't want a bone and something sharp that could fucking take someone's eye out. Two, and this almost happened on one take. David had his fork down, and I was like, "Brother, you might want to move that fork to the side. You're gonna be landing your face right in it." And three, this was the big thing because you never know. Again, with stunts, guys, I've seen so many crazy fucking things happen when you're like, it's not gonna break, and it breaks,
Right.
or that'll hold, and it doesn't fucking hold.
Yeah.
Because you just never know, like you're not normally just putting your face through a fucking plate at home, so we don't know what's gonna happen. So it was very big for me to get a safe plate. The plate itself, I made sure was a very thick plastic that looked like glass. It was that kind of plastic that almost looks like etched designs are in it. but I wanted something that I knew that he wasn't going to be able to like shatter if he hit it a certain way. You know, had that been like ceramic, had that been glass, like who the fuck knows what happens? He hits it a certain way and you get glass in your face. So
Ouch.
fortunately, no actors were injured during the filming of Let Love Go by Johnny Barnes. And fortunately, David's face held up pretty nicely. So yeah, Forrest is a great guy. If you're looking for a 6 foot tall, studly blonde actor, age ranging 25 to 30, you give Forrest a holler.
He was on that Blunt shoot a few weeks ago, so I had a nice chat with him that day.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and that's the thing, man. Look, we love talented people. That's first and foremost. Let's not bullshit. You got to have the fucking goods.
Right.
So we love talented people, but just about equal to that are just good people. Just
Sure.
people that we can fucking stand, that don't drive us goddamn insane,
Right.
that we can be with for 12, 13 hours a day. You know, a lot of actors forget that. You know, it's like, hey, I got to be around you for 13 hours. Let's like, you're at like an 11 right now. Let's get you down to like a 5. You
Yeah.
know? So, you know, really, as we wind things down here, you know, those are our kind of main tips on how to make a better music video. Mike, let's spend the last few minutes of our show here just talking about some of our favorite music videos. You know, you mentioned it earlier. I remember to this day being a little kid and my sister and I waiting with great anticipation for a new Michael Jackson video.
Sure.
When Michael Jackson videos came out, it was destination programming. Like you said, they would promote it like dropping this Friday or whatever it might be. And it was a big fucking deal. And I remember then once the video did come out, you almost like couldn't turn MTV or VH1 on without it. You'll see it like once an hour. That shit was just always going to be on. And the one that I remember the most, I'm not going to say it's my favorite because MJ has so many great fucking videos. I mean, I'd say more so than any artist out there, Michael Jackson's videos are the most feature film quality in terms of it was beyond music video. It was like something
Cinematic.
so cinematic. We had never seen anything like it. So you know, most of them MJ videos are special to me. The one that I remember the most, though, the one that sticks out in my head, and you mentioned this video, the black or white video.
Right.
I remember there was a portion of the video that was so graphic and violent that it played once, like opening night, like the first night that they aired it, they played it in its entirety. And they received, and by they, I mean, I don't know if it was MTV, I don't know if it was the record
I
company.
think it was Fox TV. It was like a
I mean,
network station.
whatever it was, do you remember there was so much
Yeah.
flack about the level of intensity and violence in this opening where Michael, I believe, like violently beats up a car. He's like dancing on the
It
hood of
was
a car.
it was actually the end of the video. He takes like a I think he had a baseball bat and he just
Okay.
danced and smashed the windshield and the lights of a car. And this is a human being attacking a vehicle. That's it. And this was seen as a threat to all the children in the country and the world somehow.
Yeah, and that portion of the video, that last, like Mike said, forgive me for messing this one up, Mom. This is revisionist history from literally, you know, what are we talking, 30 years
That was
ago?
92 that came out, I believe.
Yeah, we're talking 30 years ago. So that portion of the video was cut from then on. And I'm
Right.
sure it's kind of fun. It's a fun Google search. If you go on right now, Google, I guess you could Google black or white original video, and you can probably see the sequence that was cut. But I remember as a little kid, like finding that to be fascinating as like a 7, 8 year old, like, oh, ooh, they cut a portion of the Michael Jackson video because it was
Yeah.
so violent. And it's funny by today's standards here in 2022, you watch it and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? This is
Right.
we're cutting this? Why?
Yeah.
But yeah, Super Legacy, Stephen E chimes in. I mean, you know, if we're talking music videos, Michael Jackson's a touchy subject, right? I mean, Mike, I know you have some hangups on Michael Jackson, and so do I. Look, it's hard to
Yeah.
watch some of these videos and some of these documentaries, and you know, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. But it can be a little creepy to think about. But tonight we're just talking about Michael Jackson's music videos and, you know, kind of what they meant to the genre of music videos as a whole. And there's no denying that they were just incredibly cinematic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was gonna
Thriller. Can't not mention Thriller. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, Thriller, I believe, was directed by the feature film director John Landis, and very interesting. At the time, they made a behind the scenes video like that you could rent on VHS or Beta or Laserdisc if for the 1% of the people that had a Laserdisc back then. But yeah, Michael Jackson was always pushing the boundaries of what was possible. I was going to say that you're right. I do have some hangups about the rumors and speculation, but that video for Billie Jean was always my favorite. And
The Light
the
Up Sidewalk. How could you not forget that?
yeah, I always thought that was it for me. I always thought that was cool. Yeah, one little thing, Tommy, was like Wesley Snipes was actually in the Bad video, and then years later, I got to have a fight scene with Wesley Snipes too. So I felt like 6 degrees from separation
Yeah,
there.
there you go, Mike. I was just gonna say you got your 6 degrees of separation. You can get to Michael Jackson in two.
Yeah, Wesley
Well, in
Snipes.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
one step. You're one step. That's pretty damn good. And that
yeah,
makes me and everybody listening to End Action 2 steps for Michael Jackson now. Yeah, man, you can't knock MJ videos are by far the top of the mountain. I think that they're the greatest, and everyone will kind of always look back at those as the videos that changed the game. For me, personal favorites, I got a couple. I fucking love "I Ain't Got Nobody" by David Lee Roth. The video, the song may more commonly be known as "Just a Gigolo," but that video is just a cavalcade of fucking crazy.
yeah.
You got a lot of wacky cameos. David Lee Roth is just very fucking entertaining, and he kind of just embodies the quintessential 1980s rock star. Doesn't really give a fuck attitude, kind of doing his own thing, lighthearted, kind of just being Dave.
Right.
And we had talked about it earlier. Music videos are all about draining every last drop of that artist's personality out on the screen so that you can watch the video and say, that guy's fucking cool, man. Like, I want to buy his record. I want to buy his t-shirt. I want to go to that concert.
Right.
And David Lee Roth and I Ain't Got Nobody. If you haven't seen that one, he's just cool, man. Like, I just,
Yeah.
that's an entertaining fucking video right there. Also, Sledgehammer by
Peter
Peter
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Very unique. If you watch that video, again, Mike and I are we're kind of dating ourselves a little bit. We're talking about some of the old school classics here, but everything starts from the classics and then gets kind of homogenized and chopped up and cut from there. So it's good to go back to the roots. But if you watch the Sledgehammer music video, it features some amazing claymation art. And I love claymation. I think it's the most tedious shit you could imagine, and it's such an accomplishment to me in the sense of it's a kind of it measures the patience of an artist to be able
Right.
to really put together some amazing claymation. So if you haven't seen Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel, check that one out. I love the Beastie Boys videos. I think like "Fight for Your Right to Party" is kind of just a kick-ass video. It's a lot of fun. Remember,
Sabotage.
yes, Sabotage is great. Remember, music videos are supposed to be fun, Yeah, they can be emotional, but for the most part, it's about having a good time. It's about celebrating the style of music. So I think that "Fight for Your Right to Party" by the Beastie Boys really does that. And here's a fun, quick one.
Sure.
There's a little Aerosmith video by which features an artist that Mike and I have a chance to work with both as actors, and I've directed him. But Jason London actually makes his debut on screen in the Aerosmith video amazing.
Nice.
Which is kind of funny. Like, he plays like a guy at the that gets picked up on the side of the road. And it's kind of funny because he told me that he auditioned for that part and went with his friend. Like, it was him and his buddy like gut him. Oh, come on this audition with me. Come on, you can do it too. Maybe we'll get it. And his buddy didn't get it, and he did.
Right.
And then he ended up getting to do the Aerosmith video, and he told me that it was really cool. Like, again, he wasn't remotely notable at all at the time. He was just, I think, an 18, 19-year-old kid. He got to go to an Aerosmith concert when they were on tour, when they did the LA leg of that particular tour. And you get to go backstage and meet the band and everything. And because it was funny, everyone always asks him, like, was Steven Tyler there when you shot? And he's like, no, why the fuck would Steven Tyler be
Was
there?
that the one with Alicia Silverstone and Liv Tyler? Was one of those?
I
The
believe
trilogy?
so. Actually, I'm not sure if it was that one. We'll have to do some research
Yeah.
on that one. But I know it's a couple. It might be that one. But I know they pick him up.
I think it's Liv. If it's two girls that pick him up, it's Liv Tyler and
No,
Alicia
I
Silverstone.
think that's a different one.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't let me just punch that in the Google machine.
Jason London was in the movie that Dan Hunter directed last year, Mr. Birthday, that I had a nice role in, and Jason's a very good actor. He was in Dazed and Confused that he was a big
Yeah,
part?
Dazed and Confused is a big claim to fame. Mike, I get these two Aerosmith songs confused all the time. The Alicia Silverstone Liv Tyler video is actually Crying,
Okay.
which sounds a lot like the song Amazing.
Yeah,
They're
there's
very similar songs. But you're not wrong in your revisionist thinking, because I believe two young ladies do pick up the Jason London character, like Bonnie and Clyde style. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, not Bonnie and Clyde, Thelma and Louise style, because that was like a popular movie at the time.
Yeah.
Couple more comments here. Figueroa Film says music videos are a good place to start for beginner filmmakers. Go out and film a friend's music video for free. Absolutely. That's a great concept right there, because there's not an artist out there that's coming up and trying to get out there in the music scene that if they come up to you and say, and you said, hey, listen, I'm really trying to get some videos and some content created. Can I make a music video for free for you?
Right.
There aren't too many artists out there that are going to say no to that.
Yeah.
So take a shot, find an artist that you like that's in your local scene, and approach them with that. That's a great idea by Figueroa Films. Get out there and like we said here, make some friends. That's a great way to expand your Rolodex of people that you work with, are by working on projects that don't require a big commitment. So it's very easy to reach out to a couple buddies and say, hey, can you come help me on my music video? It's a 6-hour commitment. It's one day. It's not, hey, can I have the next 2 weeks of your life? And Andre says, Push It by Garbage. I
It's
check
one of
that
those.
one out. I
Yeah.
don't know if I've seen that one.
They were a mid to late 90s kind of a super group of sorts, female singer. I believe her name was Shirley Manson. I think Butch Vig was part of Garbage. He was a famous producer, if I'm remembering this correctly. And they had some really cool hits and some pretty edgy videos.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one out in the old Google machine. Figueroa Films, shout out to Mr. Birthday, of course. If you don't know, Figueroa Films was our cinematographer for Mr. Birthday. Worked on that one in downtown Providence. That was a fun movie to work on. Shows you what you can do with, what do we have? 14? Was that a 14-day shoot or a 12-day shoot?
I was there for 3 days. I think it was just a 14-day shoot, and
I don't even know if it was 14. It might have been 12.
yeah.
But we got an awful lot done in a real short period of time. I'm proud of that movie.
It was fun. I was going to mention some videos that I like, Tommy. There's a band that kind of gets overlooked by the historians. They kind of were in the shadows of Prince, who was an awesome music video maker himself, Raspberry Beret and so forth. But the band that played his opponent in his big movie Purple Rain was Morris Day and the Time. And probably the most fun, if you want to see like a Ric Flair entrance in a music video, find Pandemonium, if I can say that right, by Morris Day and the Time. Jesse, Nanette Jerome. It's just these guys just looked like they were having fun all the time. and I think of other bands, Nirvana, Heart Shaped Box, as far as the grunge scene goes.
Red Hot Chili Peppers have a lot of great videos.
Yeah,
They kind of represent that like '90s style. It's funny, every 5 years it seems like there's like a different style of videos. Of course, I love the hip hop videos from the mid '90s. The Notorious B.I.G. videos, the Tupac videos.
sure.
There's just the cool thing about music is it's so vast. There's just so much of it. I mean, like, dude, I watched a country video that I really liked the other day. A Working Man's PhD was the name of the song, and it was just a bunch of like dudes putting up a concert venue for the artist, and it was just
Right.
like it's just cool, man. There's so much out there
Yeah.
that you can check out. So, hey, here's another thing: if you're looking for inspiration, aka, let's just come out and say it. Quentin Tarantino's been saying it for years, but as artists, we're stealing all the time. You might see a really cool shot in a music video that you want to emulate in your feature film or your short film. So music videos are a great way to like, in an hour, you could watch about 15, 20 different music videos easily,
Right.
right? And in that 15 to 20, I'm sorry, let me back this up. Easy for me to say. You could watch 15 to 20 music videos in an hour. And
Right.
in that hour, you're now exposed to like 15 to 20 different filmmakers, cinematographers, actors, artists, visions, shots, styles
Yeah.
that you can kind of download into your brain. And maybe there's something that you'll see that, like you say, oh, I love that shot. I want to try to do that on my movie. So always be a sponge and be like looking out for what artists do. And maybe you can find a little something that you like. By the way, we have confirmation from Figueroa Films.
12-day shoot.
It was a 12-day shoot on Mr. Birthday. So that was a hell of a run, man. So that must mean we did 6 days on, had a day off, and then 6 days on, and then we were done. So that's a hell of a run there. By the way, watching this live from a plane right now, technology has come a long way. It has come so far that you can shoot a music video on your iPhone. It's crazy, man. It's funny. Like there have been times when I've literally been on set before and I've like shot a shot to show like either my cinematographer or to show like an actor what I want to do. And I've looked at my phone and been like, huh, it almost looks as good as like the camera. It's just crazy like how far this shit has come. But
Yeah.
yeah, hey, people out there listening that love to make excuses. Oh, I can't shoot a music video because I don't have a camera. I don't have a camera package. Like Figueroa Films just said, like Anthony said, you got a phone, don't you? Make some shit happen. We don't
Yeah.
like excuses. Excuses don't get us anywhere. Stephen E says Morris Day, great artist. His dance moves, Jerome, the bird.
Yeah.
I-
The Morris Day and the Time did the Bird, the song that Coco Beware uses as first theme in the WWF
oh no shit.
before he composed his own song. Bird, 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 I believe was Coco's, but The Bird by Morris Day and the Time was his theme song originally. Uh,
Bonus points for anyone who knows the bird's name, Coco Beware's name. And Mike, you can't answer
yeah.
this because we all know you damn well know the answer to this question. Stephen E says that he used to binge watch MTV when it was all music. Yeah, man. The cool thing about that, back in the day, not to date ourselves, but you used to be able to put on MTV and just let that shit ride and not change the channel. And it was cool because you could be like doing something in the background and it would also provide like music. It would be like your stereo, sort of.
Right.
It would be like your, kind of like your playlist for the day. You could just put that shit on and be listening to music, watching videos, vibing out with that special someone on the couch, maybe.
Recent years, Katy Perry, she's had a lot of fun videos. Like I said earlier, Gaga, Lady Gaga, Beyonce. There's some people now that I'm not Nicki Minaj. I'm not too familiar with, but I've seen a few of her videos. They're pretty damn good as well. I liked a couple of old classics. I'd like to mention Aha, Take on Me.
Wow. Deep cuts.
Yeah.
Deep cuts on a Tuesday night.
The animation, like they get animated, and this was one of my favorites as a kid, which turned, I think, a lot of people on to a classic rock band that wasn't exactly MTV's favorite, but Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. with the at the time state of the art technology. I guess a version, an early version of CGI type of animation, and years later, it holds up in a different way. It kind of holds up in a nostalgia way, but at the time, it was cutting edge. The money for nothing video.
You know what CGI blew my fucking mind at the time?
What?
And not to go back to MJ, but at the end of Black or White, when the characters are doing their like head nods and head
Yeah,
shakes and morphing into different types of people, that shit was fucking mind blowing in 1992
yeah,
to the point where we were like, "Is this sorcery? Is this some kind
right.
of what kind of witchcraft is being performed in Los Angeles?"
Yeah,
And how could I have bet almost anything? All right, so if I was tied up in a basement somewhere and some really angry men in masks had a gun to my head and they said, "Tommy, the only way you can survive is if somebody knows the name of Coco Beware's bird, and it can't be Mike Messier. Who will it be?" I would be willing to bet my life that I could say, "Call Stephen E. right now." Wait, hold on. They'd remove my gag, and I'd say, "Call Stephen E." And he would say, "Frankie." And
we
that
have
is
a winner.
correct, sir. So, Stephen E.,
We have a winner.
you never cease to amaze me, my friend. Frankie was the name of Coco Beware's bird for the wrestling fans out there. And I'm happy to say, and this isn't a joke, I really mean this. It's nice that Coco Beware is still alive and kicking, man. In this day of, a lot of the wrestlers from that rockin' wrestling era, they're not there anymore, man. So it's nice to see Coco still there. And Steven chimes in with, was the bird Frankie? Yeah, no, he was the bird. There were two birds, but Frankie is a totally acceptable answer. Just
Well,
like Jake had Damon and Lucifer. Um, but hey, maybe there's something to having these animals. Jake is also still alive. Maybe the animals kept the guys alive.
I
Don't
was
mention don't
going
mention the British Bulldogs. But anyway,
to. Frankie lived for quite some time, but eventually he did pass on. And Coco had Frankie stuffed, and because he wanted to hold on to him.
is that a
Like
true story?
that's what Coco says anyway. He said, I think on the my buddy Monty and the Pharaohs
Oh, jeez.
show that he had
Yeah,
Frankie stuffed, and he has a second Frankie who he's called Frankie Junior.
it's a little morbid. I don't know. You'd like to think that maybe Frankie could just rest in toucan heaven and not be collecting dust on his shelf next to some old fucking Sports Illustrated, a stack of old Sports Illustrateds or whatever the fuck.
Memphis
But
title belt. Yeah.
yeah, well, as we wind it down, it's been a great show talking about music videos. I love music videos. I'm actually kind of fired up. I might just kind of twist something up and watch a few music videos myself as I wind down the evening here on a Tuesday night evening edition of Band Action. Next week, I can't believe it's already the beginning of September. Next Tuesday, we're gonna be coming at you. I believe next Tuesday is September the 6th.
Hmm.
Yes, it is. It's September 6th, next Tuesday. It's the closest show that we're going to be doing to 9/11. So we thought, what better topic for next week than to discuss Man in Red Bandana. That's a film produced by Matt Weiss and Chad Verdi Productions. And of course, this tells the story of Wells Remy Crowther, one of the, really, in my opinion, one of the greatest American heroes of all time. He was a hero during the tragedies in New York City on 9/11. And he's a hero of the World Trade Center tragedy. And we're going to talk all about him. We're going to share his courageous story with everybody next Tuesday. And we're going to talk all about Man in Red Bandana. That's a documentary that myself and Sam Eilertson, who I was working with very closely at the time, came on and helped shape a little bit in the editing room. We did the post production on that movie, and I'm also an executive producer on the film. And we worked very closely with Matt Weiss, the writer director, to really take that story and shape it. Because remember, it's such an amazing story, and as a filmmaker, you've got a great responsibility to tell a story like that the right way.
Right.
And big credit to Matt Weiss for really dedicating a major portion of his life to telling that story the right way. And I can't think of a time when a filmmaker has treated a topic with such care and really handled it with such care, and such a terrific bedside manner, so to speak, with the family, in getting Wells's story out, and telling that really tragic, but inspiring and also courageous, heroic story of one of the greatest heroes of all time, in my opinion, and that's Wells Remy Crowther. We'll be talking about that next week. The Man in Red Bandana.
Yeah, very
So,
powerful movie. I remember seeing that at in East Greenwich and Rhode Island, and it was a very powerful doc. And every time we get to that time of year, it brings back certain feelings and memories for everybody.
yeah, 9/11 was a really, an incredible moment in American history, and if you lived it, it's definitely got an extra kind of piece of your heart. We're definitely There's enough years between now and the event when there's a lot of adults that frankly just weren't alive when it happened.
Sure.
And it's funny as time goes by, that's kind of a new thing to wrap your head around. So I think it's important for us, especially people that were alive when it happened, to kind of continue to every year around this time remember what a tragedy it was and pay homage to all the heroes that came out and helped that day and in the following weeks and months after the tragedy. We can never take away the awful thing that happened, but we can certainly shine light on a lot of the great people that came together to help, frankly.
Yeah, it's funny. Even well, not funny, but U2 had a song, "A Beautiful Day," which kind of got co-opted as the theme song to those people that were basically going through the rubble, looking for the remains of people or whatever clues they could find to how this happened. And just the whole World Trade Center footage, and coupled with that song "Beautiful Day" by U2. And then at the Super Bowl the next year, when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl, I believe U2 was there as the halftime show entertainment, playing a lot of these songs that kind of got co-opted as to, post 9/11 triumph of the human spirit type of songs. So music videos are always a part of everything, it seems.
Yes, they are. Music can really move us, and they can certainly get your message across and create a lot of emotion. So it was great talking music videos with everybody today. We look forward to seeing you next week. We're going to come at you Tuesday, the 6th, and we're going to be talking all about Man in Red Bandana. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you on the next episode of And Action. Bye, guys.